We want to welcome in Dr. RuthAnn Lobos, the lead veterinarian at Merrick Pet Care. She is up in Colorado where the summertime issues are a little bit different than we have here in the Lowcountry. But I'm sure you know hot and humid, and that's what we've had the last number of weeks. Welcome in. We want to talk about taking care of our doggies and kitties and other critters in the hot summer as we hit the dog days. What about dogs and all this heat and all this humidity? What should we be doing when we take them out to take advantage of that out and yet not put the dog in any kind of danger?
Yeah, great questions. And I think no matter where you are in the Northern Hemisphere, the temperature is rising.
Yes, it is.
So one of the key things that I like to talk to my clients about is, exercise is so good for ourselves. It's great for our pets. It helps us make good decisions. But taking advantage of those earlier hours in the day when the sun hasn't quite risen as high as it's going to be, the humidity may be a little bit, heavier in the morning, but the temperature being lower is what is going to be an advantage for our pets. And so one of the key things I also like to share is that you want to be aware of the surface that you're walking your pets on. Because a lot of people forget that the asphalt and the cement and even the grass can get really, really hot for our pets' pads. And that can certainly pose some serious threats for their safety. So keeping those things in mind, as well as watching your pet's actions. So if you're taking your dog for a walk, or maybe your cat, and they start to slow down and really, decrease that pace. They start panting heavily, even taking a look at the size and the width of their tongue, because that's, again, a big way that they offload their body temperature. And so if all of those things are starting, that panting is increasing, the size of their tongue is getting bigger, those are signs that you need to get inside and cool down. So, our pets are about 70 or so % water. So certainly keeping their hydration up during the summertime is just as important for them as it is for us.
I was going to ask you about hydration. That's got to be critical. It certainly is for us in the summer.
So go ahead.
No, you're the one with the information. Hydration. Should we? There's no problem with overhydrating them, is it?
I mean, certainly if they go totally extreme, but one of the great ways of getting hydration into them is actually through their food. So if you feed your pets a canned diet, so a wet recipe, it's about 80% moisture. So they're eating their water right there. Another really fun way is through things like bone broth, and you can make little popsicles. So just like you would make ice cubes, you could take some of that bone broth, put it in the freezer for a little bit, and that's another fun way for them to play and stay cool.
The ice isn't, we sometimes intake ice in the summertime and it creates brain freezes and all kinds of other issues. That's not so much an issue with pets. It's okay to throw an ice cube in their water or like you had suggested, the popsicles?
Yeah, absolutely. So like all things in life, everything in moderation. But a couple of ice cubes, one, it's a great low-calorie treat for them. And then two, it does help to cool their inner body temperature just like it does for us.
Here in the Lowcountry, we have beaches on the Atlantic, and we take the dogs to the beach. Great thing to be able to do. How do we keep them from ingesting too much salt water? That seems to be an issue too.
Sure, that certainly does. I've spent a fair amount of my life along the coast, so I get it. Having that fresh water available for them, so bringing some water along for your pet and having a specific bowl for them and training them to that can certainly be a good way to kind of get ahead of that. Also, when they're out there on the coast, I'm a big fan of having life vests on. So making sure just that added layer of safety, if something goes wrong while they're out there, they've got that added support for them when they're playing out there in the water. And again, even the sand can get hot. So keeping an eye on the temperature of the sand while they're out there and making sure they've got some great shade and some fresh water to help to cool them down if they get too hot.
All right, all great tips. You can learn more about this sort of activity at merrickpetcare.com. Again, we want to thank Dr. RuthAnn Lobos for joining us. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
We want to thank all our guests for making us just a little bit smarter today, and especially we want to thank you for sharing some of your time with us. If you missed anything on today's WHHI Daily News, we'll be back in 90 minutes.